Hello, Kyle here. I am going to review the new Amazon Prime series, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I was looking forward to this show a lot when it was in production and when it was getting talked about, and especially during the Super Bowl when they announced they would release a trailer. And I saw the trailer, and ever since they released the trailer for this series, I felt like my excitement for the show kind of dwindled because I thought their marketing was kind of lackluster. They didn't exactly tell us what this series would be about. They weren't in my mind, they weren't really focusing on a central character in the marketing, so it was kind of hard to tell who, we would be following. It was very, I would say, scattered, and it kind of lowered my enthusiasm for the show. But as one of the trailers came out, it was getting better, and then especially when the reviews started to come out a number of weeks ago, I was getting more and more excited, and I ended up watching it last night. I watched the first 2 episodes because those were the ones that they released, and I was just blown away by the visuals. The visuals in this show are outstanding. I would contend they are better than House of the Dragon's visuals. A lot of people really love House of the Dragon right now and the way it looks. I think that this could surpass it because, it is a bigger budget, of course, but it's also, I think, just beautiful to look at, and we don't get too many shows today that have that, beauty in their visual design. The production design is incredible. You can tell that there is money being spent on this project. But I was also struck by, I thought the characters were pretty interesting. Like, I thought that Galadriel was really cool to watch. I thought that Elrond and Durin, and I thought even Nori, one of the Harfoots, which they are the precursors to hobbits. I thought these characters, they were nice, and I don't want to say cute, but you get the picture. So yeah, I thought the characters were pretty cool, and what I also loved is I did love the attention to detail in terms of the lore of J.R.R. Tolkien, because even people watching this video right now might be watching it because they're fans of the novels, they're fans of the lore, they're fans of the films, and there's been a lot of talk amongst, I've seen online folks and people that are fans of Tolkien, that they're unhappy with the direction the show is going. And I can understand, especially when it comes to adaptations, how people can, get attached and passionate about their stories. But I will say to that, the books are the books, the movies are the movies, the TV shows are the TV shows. They are different mediums, so I think we do, in a way, need to separate how we view each other, because, back in J.R.R. Tolkien's time when he wrote these novels, this streaming element, like these TV shows, they didn't quite exist. Sure, they had TV back in the 50s and such, but we didn't have the, form of media back then that we have now. So that does change the way that adaptation is told. And personally, as someone who's read Lord of the Rings, who's read The Hobbit, I thought that they did a mighty fine job at adapting the source material, and I thought that there were moments in this show where they mentioned characters like Morgoth, where they mentioned the Silmaril, like when they mentioned Tolkien-esque things that we've never even heard spoken in live action, and I thought they did a fantastic job at doing it. And personally, as a viewer of the show, it made me even more interested into going back into the books and looking at the Silmarillion and looking at either other stories the Unfinished Tales, anything else that Tolkien's written, because what I love about great fantasy and, great television adaptations and movie adaptations is it makes you want to go back to the source material. There are stories, for instance, the Jurassic Park. I put a review on here a number of months ago about how much I detested Jurassic World Dominion. And the unfortunate thing about that was I was going to read Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. And I found the film really made me lose my enthusiasm of reading that book. And that is, in my opinion, when an adaptation fails. It's all subjective. Other people may think that Jurassic World Dominion is a great movie, and that's awesome. And they may say that Jurassic World Dominion made them get into the books. But personally, for me, I thought Jurassic World Dominion was a failure because it also did not get me enthusiastic about Jurassic Park again, and I didn't go back into the books. I didn't rewatch the movies after that. I just said, oh, I'm done with this. Let me move on to something else. Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, is different. It is now made me want to read the books, just like House of the Dragon, where I'm also getting back into my Game of Thrones knowledge. So I think that is outstanding, and I'm hoping that this show also gets other people into Tolkien. Because remember, this is the thing. Of course, there's adaptation, and you may not be happy with what they are doing. But if it gets people if it introduces people back into the worlds that Tolkien created, in my mind, that is a win. That is awesome. And I think that now, if Rings of Power is, a show that people love, we are going to get more Tolkien fans into the fandom, and it will be awesome. Now, I do have some criticisms with the show. Number one criticism, I was a bit overwhelmed by it. I thought that it kind of had too many characters. I kind of wish they focused on less characters in each episode and just built it up. In a way, I would have been even, I think, more content with them adding more episodes and then introducing more characters throughout the episodes, because the first episode I really liked because it was really focused on Galadriel and the Harfoots, and you were getting a little bit more into those worlds. But then by the time we got into the second episode, they were focusing on Arondir and Bronwyn, who is the Sylvan elf and the human character, and her son Theo. And then they were going into the elves and the dwarves, and they were going into Galadriel meeting Halbrand, and they had this stranger character, and they had a lot of different characters that were starting to populate. And I'm all for, building a world, but sometimes too much kind of loses you. And, I mean, if you look at Game of Thrones, I think they did a much better job at focusing the story on characters that were connected. What it looks like J.D. Payne and Adam McClay are trying to do here is that they are trying to tell this epic story. And I've read the interviews, and the interviews are very interesting to me because they talk about how they didn't want to make Lord of the Rings a TV show focused on, just Elrond and make it like any other TV series. They wanted it to be as epic as a J.R.R. Tolkien storyline. And that is cool, but I'm so used to The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, focused on Frodo or Bilbo, and then them journeying with the dwarves or the Fellowship. It's usually more so focused on one character, and then that character meets other characters along their journey. This was different. This was us meeting different characters in different locations that will, at one point, I would assume, connect. So in a way, I mean, it's not quite like the Silmarillion, but there are parts of this show that do feel like, you know, they are telling this epic storyline. I mean, I think the plot of this show so far, and this is not exactly what the trailers gave us, but it's that, and this is how I put it into simple terms. Sauron has been defeated, and he's going to rise again, which is what he does later in the Third Age, after this storyline, because this storyline takes place in the Second Age. And right now, Galadriel, she finds it in her duty to stop Sauron because no one else thinks that Sauron is a problem right now. And she has to go and try and stop Sauron. In her journey, there are other characters that are also sensing a coming darkness. And they will eventually probably have to work together to stop it. So that's, I think, the overall story of this series. They didn't exactly make it too clear in the trailers, because at one point in the trailers, it's like, there's Galadriel, but then it's like, wait, we dwarves are doing this, and it's like, wait, who are these characters? What's going on? That being said, I really love the actors in this show. I think all of them are fantastic. Some of my favorites are Elrond, Galadriel, Durin, Disa, Nori Brandyfoot, and I mean, Halbrand was pretty good himself. Arondir. I mean, all of them are awesome. All of them are really good. I just hope that the storylines start to connect more as the series continues. Right now, I think I've seen a lot of people discuss how they feel most connected to, I think, Arondir and Bronwyn. Their storyline, to me, I think, is the one I feel the least connected to, because I just don't see how it connects with the rest of the stories. But that's just me. I would assume that it has to tie into whatever the sword that Theo found is. But we will find out. We will find out. I enjoyed myself watching the first 2 episodes, and I'm very eager to see what they have left in store. I don't know how to recommend this show to people that haven't seen Lord of the Rings, because it is tied into the lore. But if you want to watch some epic grand television and a sweeping storyline that looks like it will go along 5 seasons, I'll recommend you watch it. I think that it is, at the very least, just stunning to look at. And I think you will fall in love with these characters. So, thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day.